Alright, I'll make this quick, because not much happens, and the first third of episode 4 is basically just a recap of the previous episode anyway. Side note, I think if you took all the recaps that we get from this show, we could get an entire season's worth of material, which is not something that I want to promote, just something that I'd like to highlight. So we left off in the top of the 8th inning. Actually, it was the bottom of the 8th inning, because we did see Furuya get all 3 batters out at the end of the previous episode. Essentially, Sato can't do anything against Masamune. Furuya and Masamune both complete their games, and Sato loses 2-0. That's really it. There isn't much exposition beyond that. All of the cold symbolism that I thought was going to stretch into an arc from the previous episode didn't really last more than one. The really only interesting perspective that we got from this episode was watching Sawamura from the bullpen eye Furuya as he got his turn in the spotlight. You could see shots of Furuya on national TV. You see the crowds at Shibuya watching him on the big screens. It's really become apparent that this has become Furuya's team. And Sawamura from the bullpen is now dealing with 2 competing desires. On the one hand, he wants his team to succeed as best as possible, and that can only happen when Furuya is on the mound and pitching to his best potential. On the other hand, he himself wants to be on the mound, and he can't do that when Furuya is currently occupying it. And so when the game ends, Sawamura decides that he's going to pick up some dirt from the Koshien ground, which is a very common thing to do for teams that are exiting the tournament. The dirt is kept as a memento. But for teams that aim to reach the Summer Koshien, it's not really done so much in the spring as it is explained to us. But Sawamura isn't getting dirt from the field as a memento. He's getting dirt from the bullpen as a reminder of where he was during most of the tournament. I guess as more of a drive to do better instead of a reminder of where he was. Which brings me to, I guess, my biggest sticking point with this show. I've been reading in the comment section of the streaming service that I'm choosing to use for this show that a lot of people are pretty upset that Sawamura has taken a back seat. And we're about 130 episodes in, and I'm surprised to learn that there are still people that believe that this is Sawamura's show. Sawamura is the main character because someone has to be the main character by default. But from the start, it was pretty apparent that this is not Sawamura's show. Ace of Diamond has as much to do with Sawamura as it does Furuya and Miyuki, and anyone who expects this show to solely focus on Sawamura hasn't been watching very carefully. And also, I don't really know why anyone would care to watch a show that was entirely based off of Sawamura. Personality-wise, he's an entertaining secondary character at best. And I'm glad to see this show expanding upon some of the secondary characters and promoting them into primary positions. The good thing about the end of this Spring Koshien arc is that we now will probably get into the training arcs, which to me are more entertaining than the tournament arcs anyway. This is where we get to see a little more personality from the characters, and we get to see the daily lives and trials of everyone who plays on the team. I find this aspect much more entertaining, not just in this show, but in most sports shows, so I'm looking forward to where the show goes from here. Still doesn't have much to say, but it's keeping me entertained.